Madam Chair, with your permission, we will now proceed to confirm the quorum for this morning. Please, I would ask the delegations to sit down so we can formally start the proceedings, and then the chair will invite everybody to stand up to receive the president formally. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, this is a hybrid meeting of the Permanent Council. We have delegations here in the Hall of the Americas and delegations connected from outside of headquarters. Between these two groups, we have the following delegations: Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, El Salvador, the United States of America, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, the Dominican Republic, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and Uruguay. We have quorum, Madam Chair.
Good morning. I'm pleased to declare open the Protocolary meeting of the Permanent Council, which has been convened to receive the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Irfaan Ali. The order of business is approved. I invite all meeting participants to rise as we welcome the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Irfaan Ali. His Excellency Dr. Irfaan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and distinguished members of his delegation. His Excellency Hugh Hilton, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Welcome. Ambassador Samuel Hines, Permanent Representative of Guyana to the OAS. Distinguished permanent, interim, and alternate representatives of member states, Mr. Louis Almagro, Secretary General, Ambassador Nestor Mendez, Assistant Secretary General, distinguished permanent observers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, it is an honor for me to greet the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency, Dr. Irfaan Ali, and to offer him a most cordial welcome to this House of the Americas. The illustrious President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana is a prominent political figure who has made significant contributions to the political landscape of Guyana, a South American nation with rich cultural and ethnic diversity. Born on October 9, 1980, in Leonora, West Coast, Demerara, the President Ali embarked on a remarkable journey in his political career, eventually ascending to the presidency of Guyana in August 2020. President Ali's early life was marked by a commitment to education and a strong desire to make a positive impact on his community. He pursued his primary and secondary education in Guyana and then went on to study at the University of Guyana, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in social sciences. Later, he pursued a master's degree in economics from the same institution and a doctorate degree at the University of the West Indies. Throughout his educational journey, President Ali demonstrated a passion for economics and a keen interest in public policy. These academic pursuits laid the foundation for his career in politics, where his economic expertise would play a pivotal role. Under President Ali's early entry in politics, it can be traced back to his early involvement in community service and his active engagement with youth organizations. He quickly rose through the ranks of the People's Progressive Party, PPP, a major political party in Guyana, due to his dedication and leadership qualities. His charismatic presence and ability to connect with diverse segments of the population made him a rising star within the party. In the early 2000s, President Ali's political career took a significant step forward when he was appointed as a presidential advisor on youth empowerment under President Barack Obama's administration. This role allowed him to work closely with the government on initiatives aimed at empowering and uplifting young people in Guyana. President Ali's impressive track record and dedication to public service led to his election as a Member of Parliament in Guyana's National Assembly in 2006. He represented the constituency of East Central Demerara and continued to gain recognition for his contributions to economic policy and development initiatives. As a parliamentarian, President Ali was known for his ability to constructively engage in debates and his commitment to addressing the pressing issues facing the country. Dr. Irfaan Ali's presidency, which began in August 2020, has been marked by challenges but also key achievements. One of the most significant accomplishments of President Ali's administration was the resolution of the long-standing territorial dispute with Venezuela. The International Court of Justice ruled in favor of Guyana in a historic decision, effectively settling the dispute over the Essequibo region. President Ali's government played a crucial role in presenting Guyana's case and ensuring a peaceful resolution to this decades-old conflict. Guyana's discovery of substantial oil and gas reserves in its offshore waters presented both opportunities and challenges. President Ali's government worked diligently to establish a regulatory framework for the oil and gas sector, ensuring transparency, accountability, and equitable distribution of revenues. This was essential to prevent what is known as the resource curse and ensure that the newfound wealth benefited all Guyanese citizens. President Ali's administration prioritized infrastructure development to spur economic growth and improve the quality of life for Guyanese citizens. Significant investments were made in road construction, airport upgrades, and other critical infrastructure projects. Recognizing the importance of accessible health care and education, President Ali's government implemented programs aimed at enhancing healthcare services and improving educational facilities. These initiatives were particularly vital in addressing the needs of vulnerable communities. Like many leaders worldwide, President Ali had to navigate the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. His government implemented measures to protect public health while also supporting the economy and vulnerable populations during these trying times. Under President Ali's leadership, Guyana has maintained its commitment to regional and international cooperation. The country remains an active member of organizations such as CARICOM and CELAC, fostering diplomatic ties and promoting regional stability. President Ali's journey from a young scholar to the presidency of Guyana is a testament to his dedication to public service and his commitment to making a positive impact on his country. His presidency continues to shape Guyana's future, and his leadership remains pivotal in guiding the nation through both opportunities and challenges. As a permanent representative of Jamaica, a fellow CARICOM sister nation, it is really an honor for me to welcome you once again to this esteemed hall, the Hall of the Americas. Excellency, OS member states, thank you for your visit today. At this time, I'm also pleased to offer the floor to Mr. Luis Almagro, Secretary General of the Organization of American States, to also welcome you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. President Ali, it It is a great pleasure welcoming you to this special meeting dedicated to recognizing and understanding the transformative journey of your nation. I recall with great delight my official visit to Guyana in May of this year at your kind invitation. The many conversations which I had with senior members of your government and with the representatives of civil society convinced me that Guyana is creating important pathways for inclusive economic and social development. I congratulate you and your government and Guyana on Guyana becoming the fastest growing economy in the world. Experience has shown the global community that oil and gas wealth often fails to transform the life of people because of mismanagement and misuse. In this connection, we are pleased and very encouraged by the system of regulation and check and balances that your government has established, as well as the independently run Heritage Fund, into which significant sums of the current oil and gas revenues are being placed to finance Guyana development and the welfare of its people well into the future. We also take note that despite its greenhouse gas emissions arising from its oil production, Guyana is a carbon-neutral nation by virtue of the fact that it has preserved its forests as a vital carbon sink for the benefit of the world. It is equally heartening that your government has taken the firm decision not to rely entirely on the oil and gas industry for the country's well-being, but also to invest in the nation's vast agricultural endowments. We applaud Guyana for being a net producer of food. You have yourself taken on the championship of food security in the Caribbean, offering Guyana's vast agricultural lands at the breadbasket of the region. We commend you for this initiative. Mr. President, in 2020, Guyana confronted a great threat to its democracy. The result of free and fair elections and general elections were being overturned by an attempt to thwart the will of the electorate. The OAS was pleased that our work and the work of the Electoral Observer Mission helped to ensure that through an open, transparent, and supervised process, the people's will prevailed, and democracy was recaptured from those who sought to desecrate it. Many people here worked for that. Guyana's wealth also lies in the diversity of its people, whose talents are well known. We congratulate you, Mr. President, on your One Guyana policy, with which you are building a nation of one people, regardless of their race or religion. I share with this Permanent Council a heartfelt moment that I experienced in Guyana last May when I attended the 57th Independence Day flag raising ceremony. In one segment of that ceremony, prayers for the nation's welfare were issued sequentially by leaders of the Christian, Hindu, and Muslim faith, and also in what with Hana, the language of the Arawaks, one of the indigenous peoples of Guyana. The embrace of this multifaceted religious ritual by all Guyanese present and their collective celebration of their religious diversity was a moving and heartwarming moment. It would be the goal of all our nations to embrace and amplify, as you do in Guyana, this practice and celebration of religious freedom. On a wider scene, it is to Guyana eternal credit that it has responded to territorial disputes, not through aggression, but through peaceful and legal means that are the cornerstones of the Charter of the United Nations and the Organization of American States. President Ali, your government's unwavering dedication to good neighborliness resonates with the ethos of the OAS Charter. Be assured, the General Secretariat remains steadfast in the commitment to support Guyana's aspiration, championing peace and unity in the Americas. Once again, Mr. President, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. I now have the distinct honor to offer the floor to the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency, Dr. Irfaan Ali. Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Chair of the Permanent Council, Ambassador Marks of Jamaica, Secretary General Almagro, Assistant Secretary General Nestor Mendez, distinguished representatives of member states. Madam Chair, it brings me immense pleasure to see a Caribbean sister presiding over today's meeting of the Permanent Council. Such a sight reinforces the bond and shared values within our treasured Caribbean community. Allow me to specifically recognize the Dean of the OAS Permanent Representatives, Ambassador Sir Ronald Saunders of Antigua and Barbuda. He is not only a stalwart advocate for Caribbean causes, but also an exceptional diplomat, academic, and whose contribution have been invaluable. The fact that he was born in Guyana, my homeland, makes this acknowledgement all the more special. Furthermore, I acknowledge Guyana's permanent representative, Samuel Hines. The decision to appoint a dignitary of his stature, a former president and prime minister of Guyana, as our representative underscores the profound respect and importance my government places on the OAS. Indeed, our commitment to this organization could not be demonstrated in a more profound manner. I'm grateful to Secretary General Almagro for the warm reception earlier today. His recent and constructive official visit to Guyana 3 months ago stands as a testament to the close ties and collaborative spirit between Guyana and the OAS. We had the opportunity for a very beneficial dialogue on the many challenges confronting our collective family of the Americas, as well as the many encouraging opportunities that we could enjoy through strengthened cooperation. Madam Chair, it was in 1966, in the fresh dawn of our independence, that Guyana sought to take its rightful place within the Organization of American States. We wanted a place amidst the family of the Americas, united in shared values, aspirations, and a commitment to a hemisphere defined by peace and mutual respect. However, a shadow was cast over our aspirations. The ominous shadow was a territorial claim to 2/3 of our homeland by neighboring state. A claim that would bar our entry into the organization for a quarter of a century, 25 years. Years spent in diplomacy, negotiation, and unwavering commitment to our sovereign rights. It was not until January 31st, 1991, that the doors of this council opened to Guyana after prolonged negotiation and consistent diplomatic work. Yet, the territorial claim remains a relic of history that challenges our nation's peace, territorial integrity, and sovereignty. In 1899, an international tribunal of the highest distinction, established by agreement of the parties at the time, issued an arbitral award that was accepted and proclaimed as a full, perfect, and final settlement. Yet, in 1962, 37 years after acceptance of that award, and on the eve of Guyana's attaining of Guyana's independence, the territorial claim was reopened on spurious grounds. Since then, throughout its existence as an independent state, Guyana has endured acts of aggression that threatened our territorial integrity and intimidated and discouraged investment, stunting our growth and development. So faced with adversity and aggression, Guyana, drawing inspiration from the charters of the OS and the United Nations, has consistently pursued the path of peaceful resolution of this unfounded claim. Our acceptance of the decision of UN Secretary General Guterres to refer the matter to the International Court of Justice, which is currently hearing the case, is a testament to our unwavering commitment to those principles. Our stance mirrors the ethos of this very organization, that disputes should be settled peacefully in furtherance of international law. Madam Chair, the rich tapestry of the Americas has been woven with threads of mutual respect and recognition of sovereignty. Accepting established borders has been the tradition in our hemisphere, a tradition that has shielded our nations from conflicts, paving the way for peace, cooperation, and development. Guyana stands firm in its belief that peaceful settlement of disputes is not merely an option, but a duty and a cornerstone principle of the OAS Charter. In a world where shifting geopolitical dynamics challenge established norms, Guyana reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the principles enshrined in both the OAS and UN Charter. We'll continue to champion the cause of international law as we seek a lasting, peaceful resolution to a territorial claim, one that was resurrected on the brink of our independence after decades of acceptance. In unity with this esteemed body and in the spirit of the OAS Charter, Guyana remains resolute, looking forward to a future where our shared values light the way. Distinguished friends, in reflection upon our recent history, I'm drawn to the events surrounding Guyana's general and presidential elections of 2020. It was a testing period for our nation's democratic values, when the principles enshrined in our Constitution and the essence of our people's will were under threat. There were forces at play that sought to subvert the democratic process, threatening to undermine the genuine voice of our citizens and impose upon them a future they did not choose. Yet, in these challenging times, the international community stood steadfast with the people of Guyana. We remain deeply grateful for the vigilance and oversight of the electoral observer missions from the Organization of American States, the European Union, the Commonwealth, and the Caribbean community. Their unwavering commitment and meticulous observation ensured eventual transparency, fairness, and accountability. Without their presence and relentless pursuit of truth, our democracy might have been derailed, the will of the people sidetracked, and an unlawful regime could have taken root. This experience underscores the immense value and imperative need for electoral observer missions. Their role extends beyond mere observation. They act as guardians of democracy, ensuring that elections reflect the true voice of the people. As nations committed to upholding the democratic ethos, we must recognize the vital importance of such missions. Their unbiased and expert assessments can identify potential pitfalls, discrepancies, and breaches, ensuring that elections are not just a process, but a true representation of a nation's aspiration. To all nations in this council, let Guyana's experience serve as a testament to the indispensable role of electoral observer missions. Democracy thrives not only on the will of its people, but also on the trust in its process. Let us all commit to welcoming and facilitating such missions, ensuring that the core of democracy, the ballot, remains untainted, transparent, and truly representative. Distinguished friends, I turn now to another autonomous organ of the OAS that does vital work in the protection and promotion of human rights, the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. Serving as a beacon of hope in the Americas, the IAHR's steadfast dedication to human rights, combined with rigorous oversight, ensures that our hemisphere remains committed to upholding the dignity and freedom of every individual. For years, the IACHR has played a pivotal role in addressing severe human rights breaches, amplifying the unheard and holding states accountable. The Commission's comprehensive approaches, from on-site visits to individual petitions, emphasize the rights are tangible and actionable commitments, not just written declarations. This year, in recognition of the vital role that the IACHR plays, Guyana, for the first time, nominated a candidate to be a member of the Commission. The nomination reflected our nation's commitment to the ideals of the Inter-American human rights system and our belief in collective action to uphold these ideals. Guyana and the Guyana government were both humbled and honored by the overwhelming support that our nominee, Dr. Christopher Arif Bulkan, received from fellow member states. It underscores our desire to bolster the Commission's mission, integrating our distinct insights and partnering with other member states to fortify the human rights ethos in the Americas. To every representative of the OAS member states, thank you for your endorsement. We encourage the IACHR's future work, grounded in justice, equity, and undying commitment to defending human rights. Madam Chair, the Americas confront challenges both unique to our region and shared globally. While many of these challenges, like climate change or economic disparities, are universal, our particular vulnerabilities mandate that we come together, finding solutions as neighbors and presenting a united front to the larger world. For too long, we, the member states of the OAS, have looked outward for solutions, bypassing the vast potential for trade, investment, and collaboration right here in our neighborhood. The wealth of our region in natural resources, oil, gas, hydroelectric power, minerals, metals, agricultural capabilities, and more is unparalleled. In terms of services, from tourism and financial services to technology and innovation, the Americas stand out for both their diversity and scale. Yes, there are disparities in development among our nations. Yet, seen as a collective, the potential of the Americas is staggering. All that is missing is the political will to establish an equitable integration framework, enabling cross-border investment and production tailored to both our internal and global markets. I recognize the complexities posed by external trade agreements and the current global economic dynamics. Nonetheless, the vision of an economically united Americas should not merely linger as a distant dream. It is the cornerstone for addressing our region's pressing challenges, be it poverty, unemployment, migration, or enhancing our living standards. Distinguished colleagues, the future of our region depends on our ability to intertwine our investments, technology, and research with our collective development goals. Let us not merely dream, but act to keep alive the aspiration of an integrated Americas based on equity, fairness, and shared benefits. Distinguished friends, Guyana, once among the 3 poorest countries in the hemisphere, is today regarded as the country with the fastest growing economy in the world, averaging well above 30% over the last 3 years. Last year, the International Monetary Fund put our rate of growth at 62% and is projected for this year, end-of-year growth at 38%. In the first half of this year, our real gross domestic product grew by an estimated 59.5%. The non-oil economy grew by 12.3%. I do not want to downplay to you the importance of this economic growth, but I emphasize that this phenomenal growth has only occurred in the last few years, and my government has to act responsibly to ensure that the benefits of the oil and gas industry reaches the broadest cross-section of our population on a basis of inclusion, equity, and fairness. We have started this process by programs that target first the most vulnerable in our country, and by building up social welfare programs while spending on much needed physical infrastructure and on the provision of more and better health and education facilities and services. There was a time when there was an exodus of Guyanese seeking status as economic refugees in other countries, principally the United States and Canada in this hemisphere. In the current atmosphere of political stability and economic growth, that trend is now being reversed. Guyanese are now returning home to take advantage of the economic and social development that is being pursued vigorously. This emphasizes that the key to curbing irregular migration and refugees is economic development and the role of democracy and respect for the rule of law in politics. Madam Chair, my government is mindful that oil and gas production from Guyana will now contribute to the greenhouse gas emissions that create climate change. But I hasten to add that the volume of emission from Guyana is not comparable in any way to the size of emission by industrialized nations of the world. Moreover, we ask that all nations, particularly those which are the worst victims of the impact of climate change, to be aware that even after account is taken of all the current oil and gas production, Guyana is at worst a carbon-neutral country. Our forests, the size of England and Scotland combined, stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon, and we have the lowest deforestation rate in the world. We are not even cutting 60% of our allowable cut. That is the level of responsibility through which we have managed our forests. And this is because for decades, we have been committed to the preservation and protection of our vast endowment of forests. The forests are a carbon sink, gathering more carbon than is emitted by the country. We are demonstrating that it's possible to prioritize climate mitigation and environment protection whilst responsibly using fossil fuel resources. Let me point out that there needs to be a balance in this conversation on climate change. We cannot have this conversation derailed by locking people out from the table of discussion. For us to achieve net zero, it requires action by every stakeholder. The producers of oil and gas, the companies who have invested in oil and gas, and the entire ecosystem surrounding climate change. And the conversation is becoming very confusing because those who are calling for an immediate stop to the production of oil and gas would have accelerated their production this year. There is no clarity on the role of natural gas in the transition, although we all know that natural gas must play a key role in the transition to net zero. We need to have honest, frank discussion on these matters, not pledges aimed at creating headlines and commitment just made in writing. These are the matters that we must address. We must address the carbon price and ensure that there's a structured market and not a voluntary market. Therefore, in Guyana, we'll continue to play a pivotal role in curbing the impact of climate change, and we're committed and determined to continue doing so. At the same time, I share with you the view that even if every country met its net zero target, as Guyana has done, the world will still need to rely heavily on fossil fuel, even after 2050. As I speak to you, 53% of the world energy mix comes from oil and gas. While there will be a reduction in the reliance on oil and gas, if all nations pursue a policy of utilizing renewable energy source, the world community will still require the energy mix to comprise of between 35 to 40% from oil and gas. And the issue of renewable is one that we must also contemplate based on facts. If we were all to put our demand for solar energy in the system today, you will have decades of wait for the battery supply. Financial institutions are having difficulties in how to treat with the replacement cost of batteries for solar system, for solar energy. The financing gap for the transition in this region is of such a magnitude, and the cost of that financing is so high that it almost makes it impractical in some cases to pursue the transition based on the economics and the costs at this moment. The task before all our nations, therefore, is to pursue responsible production of oil and gas, aiming at all times to neutralize the impact through the creation of carbon sinks and other means. Guyana aims to strike the balance, exemplifying that nations can prosper economically while championing environmental responsibility. Madam Chair, our world grappling with climate change, pandemic-induced logistical disruptions, and geopolitical tensions witnesses escalating food insecurity, notably in developing nations, including our own in Latin America and the Caribbean. Despite producing ample food to feed our people, a staggering 131 million in our region couldn't afford a nutritious meal last year, as highlighted by the UN World Food Programme. This isn't just a matter of food production, although that is important. That is an important factor. It is also about access and affordability. The paradox lies not in our inability to jointly produce, but in our inadequate systems of distribution and internal trade barriers between Latin America and the Caribbean. CARICOM nations spend an astonishing annual budget on food imports, even as some of our countries are net producers of food and could feed the rest of the region. Why does this disconnect persist? The core issue isn't scarcity, but the challenges our most vulnerable face is accessing available food. High import bills, trade barriers, and a lack of affordable transport links within our region compound the problem. Last June, at a CELAC meeting, I advocated for a high-level conference addressing these concerns. A synergy of governments, private sectors, and multilateral banks can elucidate the intrinsic connection between food security and national prosperity. I urge this Permanent Council, alongside Secretary General Almagro, to spearhead an initiative to organize such a conference. Let us rally together, not just to discuss, but to find ways to transform our regional food landscape. Madam Chair, Haiti has preoccupied the nations of the Americas for a very long time. None of us should forget that the fundamental problems in Haiti arise from a strong human desire to be free of enslavement, and an equally strong desire to make profits from enslavement rooted in inherent racism. Haiti's enforced obligation to compensate France for over a century, essentially paying for its freedom, deprived its people of the chance to reinvest in their nation's human and infrastructural development. The subsequent invasion and occupation of Haiti by US troops to collect debts incurred to help pay Haitian demands also contributed to the fundamental problem of Haiti. Ruled by Haitians autocrats who plundered the country through a regime of corruption and oppression contributed significantly to the already calamitous situation in Haiti. That has now deteriorated alarmingly. A recent mission by the Eminent Persons Group, dispatched by CARICOM nations, intended to broker a solution to the country's political impasse, has expressed profound disappointment, citing the inability of various Haitian stakeholders to converge on common ground. Amidst this backdrop, gangs have further entrenched their dominance, subjecting the Haitian population to a terrifying regime of murders, rapes, brutality, and pervasive fear. Three issues are most pressing in the Haitian context: security, humanitarian aid, and political stability. At the heart of these is a pressing need for a viable political solution. Without a transitional government which enjoys the endorsement of the majority, effective governance and decision-making remain unattainable. It is lamentable that Dr. Henry's administration has not yet been able to form such an encompassing transitional government representative of representing a broad Haitian consensus. Only with a representative transitional government in place can Haiti credibly approach the United Nations Council for support in re-establishing law, order, and its democratic institutions. A pivotal step towards organizing free, fair, and internationally recognized election. Tied intrinsically to these political and security challenges is a humanitarian crisis. Haitians urgently need health care, sustenance, water, and above all, the restoration of normalcy in their daily lives. In unity with our CARICOM counterparts and with member states of the OS, Guyana asserts its unwavering solidarity with the Haitian people. We commit to exploring every avenue in partnership with the global community to assist Haiti in its quest to revive democratic institutions, restore the rule of law, and ensure the broader embrace of democracy. The Haitian people need it, and they deserve it. Distinguished friends, as you know, Guyana is preparing to join the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member beginning January 2024 for a two-year period. Having served on the Security Council twice before, we are profoundly aware of the weight of responsibility that accompanies our unanimous election to serve again. Our commitment to upholding the ideals of the UN Charter and international law is unwavering. We see this role as a hemispheric and global duty. The Security Council's primary responsibilities are to take actions to maintain or restore international peace and security and to resolve disputes that might lead to a breach of the peace. In other words, to keep the world secure. Guyana, like many other nations, has experienced moments of disillusionment with the Council's occasional lapses in fulfilling these obligations. As we once again step into this crucial role, our resolve is clear: to fervently champion the foundational principles of the UN Charter and to emphasize the nature of international law. Our voice on the Council will be one of reason, balance, and principle. But beyond that, we pledge to amplify the perspectives of developing nations, to be a conduit for the concerns, hopes, and aspirations of those often overshadowed in global dialogues. The world stands at a crossroads, grappling with challenges that require collective commitment and action. In the Security Council, Guyana will be both a beacon and a bridge, working tirelessly to ensure that the principles of peace, justice, and cooperation shine in the Council's deliberations and decisions. Madam Chair, as I conclude this address, I wish to underscore the bedrock principles that binds us as nations of the Americas. Multilateralism has proven to be an indispensable tool in addressing the complex challenges our nations face. In this interconnected era, unilateral actions often yield limited results. It is through collective endeavor, through shared vision and mutual respect that we find lasting solutions. The OS Charter, which we all have pledged to uphold, embodies this commitment to multilateralism, setting forth principles that prioritize peace, justice, and the integral development of our peoples. The Inter-American Democratic Charter further refines our shared vision. Democracy is not merely a form of government. It is a commitment to the will of the people, the rule of law, and the fundamental rights of each individual. Our responsibility extends beyond ensuring free and fair elections. It mandates us to ensure the genuine will of the electorate is recognized, respected, and acted upon by all actors. The intertwined relationship between democracy and development cannot be overstated. A robust democratic framework fosters an environment conducive to investment, creating opportunities for employment, and paving the way for poverty alleviation. Our charters do not merely represent agreements, but they are solemn promises to our citizens. The promise of a life rooted in democratic values, a life where civil and political rights are not protected but cherished. As guardians of our people's aspirations, let us reaffirm our commitment to the principles enshrined in the OAS Charter and the Inter-American Democratic Charter. Let us champion the cause of democracy, rule of law, development, and multilateralism in unity and purpose. And in action, let us forge a future upon which generations to come will look back with pride. I pledge Guyana to that noble and necessary cause. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for a very informative and inspiring presentation. We commend your focus on balancing lives, democracy, economic growth and development, care of the environment, and representation on the regional and global stage. You can count on the OAS continued support and encouragement for your stated objectives and ideals. Ladies and gentlemen, this now concludes the protocolary session of today. And I ask all those present to greet the President individually, starting with the delegation closest to the exit, in this case Antigua and Barbuda. Please rise from your seats to greet His Excellency, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and I thank you very much for your attendance today. The meeting is adjourned.